Hey you guys, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to be trying out the brand new Colourpop Lust for Dusk eyeshadow palette. I'm going to be creating two different eye looks, as you guys can see, with this palette, and I'm also going to be showing you guys close-ups and swatches of all of the shades in this palette. So I hope you guys are all excited about today's video. If you are, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, let's go ahead and do some close-ups of this palette, and I'm going to show you guys swatches of all of the shades. So this is the new Colourpop Lust for Dusk eyeshadow palette. This is a stunning 16 pan eyeshadow palette, and the price is $24. So here is a close-up of all of the shades. We have mattes and metallics in this palette. We have warm shades, cool shades. Let's go ahead and start swatching the top row. The first shade is Sunset Chaser, which is a metallic warm gold. Wild Sky is a matte yellow peach. Next we have Shaken, which is a metallic silvery mauve. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. Mood Lighting is a metallic pale silvery taupe. The shade Hot Glam is a matte cool toned saddle brown. I'm gonna add a second layer on that because it didn't swatch the best. There we go. Next we have Quiet Storm, which is a metallic warm copper with pinky pinpoints. Okay, the metallics in this palette swatch beautifully. Mixer is a matte pinky mauve. That is with one layer. I'm going to go ahead and add a second layer on that one as well. There is a little bit of glitter in that shade. Next we have the shade Eventide, which is a matte soft dusty taupe. That one seemed to swatch better than the other mattes that I've swatched so far. Night Lovers is a metallic warm taupe with a silvery gold duochrome finish. Wow, that one actually swatched a lot different than I thought it was going to look based on how it looks in the pan. The shade Horizon is a matte peach. Take the Lead is a matte grayish, which is like a gray beige shade. Definitely going to need a second layer of that one. Miser is a metallic pinky terracotta with a silvery blue duochrome finish. That one is super pretty. Next up we have That's Neat, which is a matte cool toned chocolate with golden pinpoints. Hopefully I can fit everything else on my arm. The shade After Dark is a matte terracotta. Serve Chilled is a matte smoky plum. And the last shade, Twilight, is a matte mid-toned gray. So here are all of the shades in the palette. I kind of ran out of room, so they're like going up my arm. But these shades in this palette are gorgeous. I feel like you can create so many different looks with this palette just by looking at these swatches. You have like great deep shades for like evening time looks. You have lighter shades for daytime looks. So yeah, I'm really excited to try these shades out on the eyes. So now that you guys have seen all of the shades in this palette swatch, let's go ahead and start on the demo part of the video where I'm going to create these two eye looks for you guys using the palette. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is prime my lids with my P. Louise base. I am just going to do one at a time because I like my base to be tacky, and if I do them at the same time, then one will kind of get all dry, and then I don't feel like the eyeshadow sticks as nicely. So since this palette has like a more cool tone side and then a warm toned side, I think I'm going to do one look with the warm side and one look with the cool side. So we're first going to start out on the warm side of the palette, and I'm going to take this dark brown right here, and I'm just going to start by mapping out my crease like I normally do in my eyeshadow review videos. A cut crease eye look is like my signature eye look. I have kind of gotten down the technique, so I like to test out palettes doing this type of eye look. So it's going to start out looking like super crazy and messy, but this brown has really good pigmentation, and it does have a little bit of glitter in it, but that's okay. I think it might blend away. Now I'm going to take this shade right here, and I'm just going to tightly blend this right above the dark brown that we just put down. I'm not going to go up very high with this shade. Now I'm going to take the shade Horizon, and I'm just going to do the same thing, blending this along the last shade that I put down. And now I'm going to take the shade Wild Sky, and I'm just going to lightly blend this like all along the last shade. This is going to be like the last kind of like crease transition type shade that we're going to be putting down before I cut my crease. So now I'm going to apply concealer all over the lid. Now I'm going to take this shade right here, and I'm just going to start by applying this right in the inner corner. And I think I might go about maybe halfway with this shade. And now I'm going to take the shade Quiet Storm, and I'm going to apply this one on the rest of the lid. I think this shade might need to be applied with the finger. Yeah, this is more of like a kind of chunky metallic shade, so I'm going to apply it with the finger. Yeah, definitely much better. So the lid is pretty much done. I think I'm done there, but now I'm gonna go ahead and do my lower lash line. So I'm gonna take like the same shades that I used in my crease. So like first with the dark brown, then this terracotta shade, and then I'll move my way up to the lighter shades. I'm gonna take the darkest shade first and kind of press this right up against the lash line. Then I'll take like the terracotta shade and I'll kind of blend this like just a little bit lower. And then I'm going to take the two lightest shades on like a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to blend this all along the lash line. Alright, so here is eye look number 1 complete. I really like the warm side of the palette. I think the shadows were really great. This shade was not as like soft and pigmented as some other Colourpop shadows that I have, but other than that, I feel like the rest of the shades performed really nicely. I really like both of the lid shades. So now we're going to create a look with the other side of the palette, which is the cool toned side of the palette. So I'm first going to take this shade right here, and once again, going to kind of map out my crease shape. Now I'm going to take the shade called Mixer, and I'm just going to tightly blend this right above the first shade. And the last crease shade I'm going to use is this one, and I'm just going to lightly blend this right above the last shade. So for the lid, I'm first going to take the shade Mood Lighting, and I already cut my crease off camera. I'm just going to apply this shade to the inner half of the lid, just like I did on the other eye. I'm going to do like the same kind of look. So first putting the lighter shimmery shade on the inner half of the lid. And now I'm going to take the shade called Shaken, and I already know I'm going to have to apply this with the finger, just like I did with the kind of like coppery shade on the other eye, because this one is more of like a, not like chunky metallic, but it's just a different formula than the first shade, and it just seems to be applied better with the finger. So I'm just going to apply this all over the rest of my lid with my finger. So now that the lid is done, we're going to do the same thing on the lower lash line, where I take like the darkest shade. So I'm going to first start with the dark purple, then I'll go in with the kind of like pinkish shade, and then the final shade I'll use to blend everything out. So I'm first going to pick up some of that dark purple and just press this right up against the lower lash line. Then I will go in with like the pink, kind of like mauve-y shade. And then I'm going to take the last shade on a fluffy brush and just use this to blend everything out. Alright, so here are both looks complete. I am happy with how they both turned out. I think this is a really nice palette. I do think $24 for this palette is kind of expensive for being a Colourpop palette, but I do really like the color story. I think this is a very versatile palette. Like, you can create a lot of different looks with it. You can create warm looks, cool looks, neutral looks. You also have shades for during the day. You have shades for the evening time. I don't know, this isn't one of my favorite Colourpop palettes that I've tried. I do think it is a beautiful color story. I really like the shimmers and the matte shades in here, and the packaging of this palette is beautiful, but I do just think it's like okay. Like, it's definitely not one of my favorites, but I do think it is a good palette. I think that if you have the Bare Necessities or the Stone Cold Fox palette, you will have some of these shades in there. Like, these shades right here kind of remind me of shades from the Stone Cold Fox, and then these other shades remind me of shades from the Bare Necessities palette. So if you have either of those palettes, I don't think you need this palette. If you're looking for a smaller palette that has some similar shades to both of those palettes, then this one would probably be a good one to pick up. This is available at Ulta. I picked mine up there. I will have it linked in my description box below if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, overall, I feel like it's a good palette from Colourpop. I feel like Colourpop always has amazing eyeshadow palettes. For any new Colourpop palette, it's really not about the quality, because their quality is always amazing. It's more about like if you need the palette. I don't think you guys need this palette if you already have Bare Necessities or Stone Cold Fox or any of their other palettes like that. if you don't have a palette like that, I think you could get a lot of use out of this using it for like day and nighttime looks. So yeah, for that I think it's a good palette, but if you already have some of those other palettes, you definitely don't need to pick this up. But it is a really pretty palette, and I can definitely see myself using this a lot. I love the packaging once again. I think it is stunning. So yeah, I definitely give this palette a thumbs up. It's not the most amazing Colourpop palette as far as like the color story, but the formula is just as good as all of their other palettes. So yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below if you guys plan on picking up the Lust for Dusk palettes. Also comment down below which eye look you guys like better. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Also make sure you guys have your notifications turned on, that way you don't miss out on any of my future videos. All you have to do is click the bell next to the subscribe button, and then you'll receive a notification every time I upload a new video. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.